Hey, it's day 12. My name is Tammy Davis. I'm your mentor and guide and your neighborhood alchemist. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of 30 days of essential oils. You got to know how much I appreciate you. I just cannot tell you how much it just means to me to be able to celebrate this aspect of my life with you. And it's really a good part of my life. If I had to sum it all up, I'm here to change the way we approach health and wellness, primarily, especially with our children. And those of us who have been on this planet and who haven't implemented a lot of um, who've just kind of been part of the world, right? Because it's an emotionally and environmentally polluted world. I've been saying that now. I'm hung up on that one, but it's a fact. And the human organism is not the way it used to be. We are a very, very different species. The world is very, very different, which means we can no longer be applying the old world teachings, meaning around natural health care. We just can't. It's not the same body. And again, more specifically, it's not the same world. They didn't have 45 million chemicals back then. They didn't have over 70,000 endocrine disruptors. And by endocrine disruptors, I mean those chemicals that act like hormones in the body, altering the way the hormonal system works. And if you're not aware of this, because a lot of us aren't. When we hear hormones, we think of estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. Those are the ones we think of. We don't recognize the fact that the pancreas is actually part of the endocrine system. Adipose tissue, otherwise known as fat tissue, is part of the endocrine system. There's hormones needed for sleep beyond melatonin. There's hormones needed to help release iron from the liver so that we don't have fatigue. So the hormonal system is significant. And it affects every process, or it's responsible for every process in the body. And what we call neurotransmitters, when they're used in the body, are now considered hormones. That's right. So dopamine has roles in the body. Serotonin has roles in the body. Acetylcholine has roles in the body. So these are all chemicals, neurochemicals, that in the brain are considered neurotransmitters, and in the body they're considered hormones. But the bottom line is that mental health is fundamental for physical health. It is absolutely fundamental. So any sort of mood swings or mood disorders or suspected mood disorders is a sign that we need to do something, and the oils are very, very beneficial in order to offset any potential physical health issues. And that's really what I'm about. I have over 30 years with oils. I am internationally certified as a master clinical aromatherapist. I also have a background in pharmacology. I have a background in extensive studies in plant constituents in relation to human health and drug development, which includes the epigenome, as well as the science of nutrition. And that's basically just how the body breaks down and utilizes every single nutrient down to the molecule. And how to pair that. That's where the alchemy comes in. And that's what I offer, a lot of exclusive information in my newsletters. Well, it's information that's exclusive to my newsletters, rather, that offers ideas on how to pair nutrient-rich foods with oils to get the best results, whether there's medications being taken or not. A lot of these oils cannot be taken with medications or used with medications, depending on what you're using. And so I've compiled a safe list that consists of 10 oils that, and that's not a bad thing. Okay, so if you hear that, don't roll your eyes and think, oh God. Even if you only get to use 10, you're doing a world of good for your body, because you're actually helping to stabilize the system. Because the more stable the body is, the better off it can take care of you. That's where the healing begins. Curative actions are the steps that we're taking right now. The inclusion of essential oils that are safe and do not promote adverse reactions. And adverse reactions are those, say it with me, that cause like allergic types of reactions, rashes, headaches, and so forth. They also can produce additive effects, which means they enhance the effects of the medication, which is not always a good thing. If you don't like what your medications are doing, please go talk with your doctor. Do not start using oils or any kind of herb that is going to duplicate the mechanism of action of your medication. If you are unhappy with the results, please speak to your physician. Do not duplicate the mechanism of action with your natural oils and herbs. This is the reason for the safe list, because that additive effect is not a bonus. The other thing is the silent ones, the silent adverse reactions. Those are the ones that, like, hit you years later because, well, the epigenome flipped a switch or two, but you didn't know it. And eventually the cumulative effect of that is potentially dangerous. So there's a lot of reasons why we want to make sure that we understand how to integrate the oils with the herbs. And so that's a lot of what I've got going on. That's the reason why I'm doing all of this. And everything that I do here is also followed up in a blog. I had a series back in April, May for 31 days of essential oils. And I do have a blog on my website, Synergessence.com, for that. Just click on that tab. You can check out what I've written so far. I am catching up because I did take a little break over the summer, and now I'm back at it. This series will also have its own set of blogs. However, if you have questions in the interim or you have suggestions in the interim for other oils you want to hear about, please be in touch. I'm not trying to hold out on information. If I'm making, if you hear something in these videos and there's not a blog written about it, please ask me. I'm happy to answer your questions. Tell me at Synergessence.com. It's that simple. Or I have a contact form on my website. You can also hit me up there too. Today's oil is Vitex. Yep, it's another one for the hormonal system. Well, they all really are for the hormonal system, but Vitex is a powerhouse, and we recognize it. Chaste tree is another one, another term for it. Vitex is exceptional with the hormonal system, especially for women of advanced years or women who have gone through menopause. It really is very helpful for maintaining proper use of estrogen. Now, the challenge with estrogen is it is a signaling molecule, not just a reproductive hormone, which means it activates a lot of immune issues. It's actually been tied to autoimmune disorders. And so if you have an autoimmune disorder, I would not recommend using Vitex. Now, it doesn't act like estrogen in the body, but it stimulates that whole process. And until your body is actually metabolizing estrogen properly and actually using it effectively, you probably should maybe go a different direction or start with other oils before you jump into Vitex. We always want to just go hammer in and just deal with the body and just make it do something right. But sometimes we have to kind of back up a little bit and go, well, wait a minute, because the thing is like we have over 70,000 endocrine disruptors, man-made endocrine disruptors that are acting a lot of the times like estrogen in the body. It signals activation of the autonomic nervous system, the immune system. And so depending, again, on your epigenome, this will vary between bodies. This is the reason why not everybody gets the same disease. At the same time, we have natural estrogen, phytoestrogens that also do the same thing. Now, these chemicals do not register as estrogen in blood tests. They are simply acting like estrogen. And what I mean by that is they have the ability to activate the very same receptors that estrogen does. It is a stress hormone. So that means it's stressing the system because it's not being produced by the body, and therefore it is stressing the system. So it's activating all these systems, and depending on what your body needs in this moment, your epigenome will make the necessary signals, and then you will, whatever happens is how it rolls. This is how it rolls out for you. So that said, I had mentioned earlier, if your body's not metabolizing estrogen properly, and you're probably going, well, how would I know? Well, you probably wouldn't know, but it's unless you had blood tests. The thing is that estrogen has to be metabolized in the liver. So it's being used, it's being converted, and it's being eliminated whenever we don't need. And so therefore, one of the reasons I like Vitex, and again, it really depends on your situation. So I'm a little bit hesitant just to say go out and use Vitex. But if you're of an older age, say 35 plus, I'm not saying anybody, I'm not saying old in the sense, I'm just talking about, I'm looking at an age range. So if you're in the ages of 35 and above, Vitex is probably a good idea for you. If you're not taking medications, I really have to be careful with that. Especially if you're taking any kind of hormone supplement or replacements. I would not recommend Vitex for that reason. That said, if you're not doing anything along those lines, and the reason I'm hesitant is because 65% of the American culture or population is taking some form of medication. So just if you have questions about that, let me know. I won't go into a full consult unless you want me to, and then you just need to sign up for a full consult. Yet, it actually helps with the liver, okay? So if you were to blend it with a couple of other oils, that actually would help with metabolism of estrogen, and including Vitex, it will actually help with your liver and the way your body's using estrogen. So it's got a it's very profound. It's actually a very profound oil. And when I first started using it with people, I really wasn't in love with it. But then I started learning new things about it. For instance, it actually helps carry L-DOPA, which is the amino acid. It's a precursor for dopamine. It actually helps to carry that over the blood-brain barrier. That's huge when we're looking at Parkinson's. Huge. The sesquiterpenes in Vitex actually can do that. I don't recommend just going out and getting it's not just the single, I have to say this in every video, it's not just the single chemical that's doing it, it's the synergy. And Vitex has the potential to help carry and transport L-DOPA into the brain so that the brain can actually use and produce dopamine. Given the amount of addiction and Parkinson's that we have on this planet, that is significant. Significant. So Vitex even has, in my opinion, potential in addiction recovery. Again, but then we have to be a little careful because there's medications involved, but that's where you at least get some idea of a consult. You have to forgive me, I've done a lot of videos today, and I know that I've mentioned it a couple of times, but I just want to say that there is a safe list being put together of oils, and Vitex is not on them. So that means you got to know what you're taking, how it's being cleared through the body. Otherwise, just stick with the safe list. But if this is something that intrigues you or something that is resonating with you because you have Parkinson's or you have addiction and you have hormonal issues, concerns, this oil has the potential to be very, very beneficial. We just do not want to be duplicating the mechanism of action, and we want to make sure that there's no conflict at the CYP450 enzyme level. So those are the exciting bits on Vitex, and I hope that makes sense. And if you have any questions, please, again, ask me. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. And I look forward to seeing you. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, check it out. Oh, I haven't mentioned this in a couple of videos. Aromatherapy is a Lifestyle is a group that I have. It's a closed group. Sign up. There's so much more to learn about essential oils, and we actually get really, really into CYP450 enzymes in there. All right. Thanks, you guys. I will talk with you tomorrow.